Watch Jefferson climbs the ladder. Oh my goodness! Come
on! We are live. NBA Rundown time. Pretty cool new intro there, Tyler. And it is a special day for us here on the NBA Rundown because not only do we have Travis Mangone with us, but it looks like we have the man, the myth, the legend. That's right, Johnny AirPods JSU. What's up, buddy? I haven't seen you for a while. I think you're muted.
Mistake. Yeah, I'm mute. I was trying to get my audio set up. The settings were all off, so I was hearing you guys all funky, but I think I got it set right. And I had to come on here. I mean, we were going back and forth on Twitter. For me, it's Allen Iverson week, so we all have to respect and talk about Allen Iverson. So whenever I get a chance to talk him up for how great he is, that because no one else wants to give him the respect he's due, I got to get on as many shows as possible and as many social media tweets as possible to make sure people know how great he was. And we were trying to teach, right, Spread? We were trying to teach the young people of today, guys like Mikey and Rubio and some of the other young kids we got who really don't know how great Allen Iverson was. So it's our job, right, Spread? We have to teach the people that maybe didn't watch as much hoops back in the day. They never really got to see the greats from back then. They don't like to give the respect to them. So they just want to talk about LeBron and Giannis and all these other like new greats. And they don't want to give any respect to the old greats. I mean, come on. Can't they all just be great? Right?
I've been saying that for years. I mean, and that's the one bad thing about MJ legacy is they want to turn everything into rings. I mean, who cares about rings? Tell me back then that you would have rather watched Shaquille O'Neal just dominate people on the post and do something, right? I mean, like, how boring was that? I'm bigger than you, I'm faster than you, I'm stronger than you, I dunk. Or to watch a guy, right, that's so small compared to the rest of the field, show heart, get out there, take a beating every night because the refs hated him. So he didn't get no calls. He changed the dress code in the NBA, right? Because he was so stylish. They're like, no, you can't do this anymore. I can't believe that they don't give AI the credit that he deserves. And I'll tell you what, right? Like Shaq and Kobe are better all-time players, but all these NBA players, well, maybe not now because they're a little older, but way more people looked up to Iverson and wanted to be Iverson when they were growing up than Shaquille O'Neal.
Facts, like absolute facts. AI, like he did. So you talked about the dress code. I mean, that's just one of many. First of all, the Iverson shoe back in the day was like the thing. I mean, I get MJ was MJ, loved MJ stuff, but like Iverson shoes were legit back then. Everyone wanted to be AI. Everyone had the headbands going, the answer bands, all that stuff. Like that stuff was awesome. People loved it. And I mean, I can't stand when there's just like shade thrown at him. The dude, he didn't practice. When he played in games, he tried his ass off every friggin' night. Some people don't like him because he shot all the time. He was a little bit of a ball hog. I can understand that. At least those people watch the games, so they have an idea of what they're talking about. But the people who are just like 0 rings, 1 finals appearance, those are the people I just can't stand.
Travis, your thoughts on Allen Iverson?
Yeah, I'm a big AI guy. He was awesome. Like, he was one of my favorite players growing up. Not like JSU, right? But he was up there. He was on the list. Paul Pierce was my guy. So it was him or AI were like 2 of my favorites.
Paul Pierce for Allen Iverson. I mean, just aesthetically, his game is nowhere near.
I mean, why can't I like different players, Spread? No one says that you have to like every single 7-foot guy if you like one 7-foot guy, right? Or no one says you have to like every 5'11" guy. If that's the case, Spread, you better be a huge Isaiah Thomas guy. I'll tell you that right now. So,
which one?
Wasn't Isaiah Thomas? Didn't he almost get an MVP award? Wasn't that like a stretch where people were lobbying for that? Like, that's kind of funny hindsight now. But AI was awesome. He was great. And Mikey needs to take a seat sometimes. He doesn't realize that, but sometimes he's got to just sit back and take a seat to some of these other great players. Allen Iverson was awesome. You had to appreciate everything that he did. He kind of reminds me, I was talking with JSU about this. He reminds me of like this Jimmy Butler team a little bit where there's just like one guy, right? There's one dude that's like clearly the alpha. There's a lot of good players around him. no one's building their team around Bam Adebayo. Listen, I'm not trying to disrespect Bam, but no one's building their team around him. No one's building their team around Gabe Vincent. No one was building their team around Eric Snow or washed up the Kembe Mutombo. It just wasn't happening. So, AI was great. He was absolutely awesome. And, we got to pay him some respect, as JSU said.
But Mangoni doesn't cover 1 through 5. I mean, he can't do it. No fucking shit, Mike. He's 5'11". Get the fuck out of here, all right? He used to some of his dunks too, like legendary putback dunks. I mean, like just because AI was small, like he had some of some of the sickest like the putbacks, and he was so good. Like it's funny how people look at it. Me and Spread look at it. And Mangone, I don't know Tyler's perspective on it. I think we look at it where it's like the dude was so small and he did all this stuff despite like just being no love by the refs, so small. And everyone else looks at it maybe in a different perspective.
And this isn't like a Jeremy Lin thing where it's like, oh man, he was awesome for like a 3-week stretch, right? Like this dude was a dog for years. Like he was the top player in the league for years, doing amazing things.
Tyler, any thoughts on Allen Iverson, your favorite Carmelo Anthony teammate?
Yeah, I was going to try and be the guy that came in and tried to pull the overrated card to get these guys fired up, but I can't even pull that card. I mean, AI's AI. I mean, the guy that got me into basketball when I was younger, that was his favorite player. So it kind of defaulted to mine until I got to Carmelo. But he's the little guy that always balls out. I think that's the other reason why everyone relates to him so much. Not everybody's 7 foot and can dunk like Shaq. Like, it's a lot harder to replicate that game. You look at AI, you look at Steph, guys like that. Looks like the normal guy running around out there. So everybody can go out on the playground and try and replicate those kind of guys. So I like AI. I got nothing against them.
Tyler, the big thing too, though. Tyler makes maybe the best point. AI's moves, everyone could go in their backyard and try and replicate. I'm not saying they could do it like AI, but I'm saying like the crossover, the step back, like all the moves that he just like made people look foolish with. Everyone went over. Everyone was fake stepping over Tyronn Lue after they hit a corner shot and like, doing all that stuff. Like I used to try and do that stuff back in the day. Like it was just fun. Like, you know what I mean? It was just fun to replicate. So that's probably another thing. You know what I mean? Well, everyone replicates like the last second shot in their head, 3, 2, 1, shoot. Hey, Allen Iverson definitely had the moves that you wanted to replicate. The crossover was legendary, obviously.
So JC, when I was in college and like at the end of it, right? Like no one I helped with kids kindergarten through 4th grade. None of the kids were acting like LeBron James. None of the kids were like, because you just can't replicate LeBron, right? He's like an anomaly. Like it's just none of these kids could dunk like him or do the things that he can do. None of the kids can pin the ball off the backboard like LeBron, right? If you were going to do something to act like you're replicating. But you know what they could all do? They could all shoot threes. They could all act like they're Steph Curry. And like, it was kind of like when Steph Curry was starting to blow up. Like, so that Tyler's examples was a great one. It's like, just, that's what you can do. Right. And that's what AI was like, right? You can just replicate what he could do. That's one reason why I liked him so much. I was short. I still am short, but as a kid, I felt like I was like, yeah, I could like, be like AI, right? Like anyone can do that. Even the tall kids can, because again, AI's moves are just like different.
So Spread, this is a good question right here.
Yeah.
And I want Spread's take first. I have a take on it, obviously. And mine's a little homer, but better crossover, Tim Hardaway or Allen Iverson? I got an actual take, and it won't even be like a homer take, but go for it quick. Because I think they're different, Spread, like really different.
Before you start, is Mikey in the chat thinking it's the Dallas Mavericks Tim Hardaway Jr.?
No, we're talking about the real Tim Hardaway, baby.
Correct.
Hold on. Before you answer, I got a way to answer this. You guys do it. I'll be right back.
Okay. So I have a way to answer this because I think they were for two different things, really. But Tyler?
No, I was just saying Spread never wants to pick a side. You made him pick a side. He ran away. It's all the time. He won't pick a side. It's definitely AI for me, though. I mean, they're definitely different crossovers, but I think it's AI.
Mangone?
I mean, it's AI. It's hard to argue.
So, okay, Tim Hardaway's crossover.
Oh, man, look at that.
Look at this guy.
I've been cleaning out my closets and I found this thing. I got this 20 years ago. Let's go.
So Spread, Tim Hardaway's crossover was legit legendary. And this is a great question. I would say, though, Tim Hardaway, when he would hit that crossover, he was a ton. He wanted to get to the cup. It was like the downhill move for him. AI, it was more the setup to get a jumper. So, I think AI's was a little more like, how do you put this? Like fancy. It like looked better to the eye if you just look at it. But I think Tim Hardaway's was like tighter, more like 1-2 in through than Allen Iverson's. Allen Iverson's would like go to the side and like it looked fancier is my point. So I think they're two different crossovers. Great question. But I mean, I would go AI, but Tim Hardaway's was just different. It was a little different.
It's so hard to go against Hardaway there. But if you think about it, AI was better at everything else. You know,
well, that's not the question, though, Spread.
Yeah, I know, but I think on just the crossover.
You can't first of all, you can't put the jersey on and then go against Allen Iverson on the goddamn play.
Okay, fine, it's AI. You're right. You win.
Yeah, you can't put the jersey on. Like it's like me walking in the room and being like, "Yeah, Spread, I think the New York Knicks are going to lose to the Miami Heat," and I'm wearing a Jalen Brunson jersey.
Okay,
that is so good.
Okay.
That is Rubio, get out of here. This is the horrible take of horrible takes.
Because they don't understand that efficiency wasn't valued back then. Like you were the best guy. You were supposed to take the shots. I mean,
Rubio, did you watch any games back then? Like it was a different league. It's completely different.
But who is he playing with too? Okay, so it's different. Like you have a team where you have scorers that legit can rival you a little bit. So you need to give the ball to them a little. He might not have taken as many bad shots, but he played on a team. This team made it to the finals, by the way. Eric Snow, Aaron McKee, who even when he was young looked old, Theo Ratliff, Dikembe Mutombo, when Dikembe Mutombo was in the decline, right? Spread, like not Dikembe Mutombo, like legit. It was like his later years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Theo Ratliff.
You got him, Theo Ratliff. Do you guys remember, is it Geiger, the big white dude who backed him up?
Oh, yeah.
Matt Geiger. He was on the team. Raja Bell, when he was super young, I'm pretty sure was on that team. Mm-hmm. And there was one or two other guys. I'm blanking on their name. But my point is, there was nobody on that team where he was like, oh, I got to get this dude the ball to score. So AI would have to take bad shots a lot of times for them to have a chance in games, right? That's just the truth of the matter. And like you said, efficiency wasn't a thing back then. It's a reason, though, why people hated on AI was because he did take so many shots. But I think it was more the way the team was constructed and that he kind of had to.
Yeah, and that's what you were expected to do back then. What?
Who had the better career up to this point because he's still playing, AI or Harden?
Well, Harden had that ridiculous season stats wise. I think honestly in the length I'd take AI, but James, that if you're just talking about like a season and you put them together, I mean James Harden had that.
Yeah, that one season's going to trounce a lot of guys' seasons.
That's what I mean though. Like offensively, yeah, that Harden. But he was taking advantage of like every rule. He got every call. This is what I mean. If Allen Iverson got all the calls James Harden got that year,
his
back
stats
in the
would have
day,
been ridiculous.
He would have been unstoppable. They never spread. You watched Allen Iverson. When he get a favorable whistle ever? Never.
There was even guys that came out and said it afterwards. They hated him.
They hated him exactly. Yeah. Like absolutely hated him. And yeah, I mean they were partial to that. So. Yeah, that's a good question, though. I mean, Harden did have that crazy year but again, he would have never gotten that whistle ever. So
I think this is the worst argument you can make about a player ever. 0 championships. That's so dumb. So like Charles Barkley wasn't good, and go back, and I know I'm the only one who watched him, but if you watch Charles Barkley in '84, he's like 6'4" playing like Shaq. I mean, it was like unbelievable what he's doing. You're telling me Karl Malone wasn't good? I mean. Second leading scorer or third leading scorer now of all time. I mean, this stuff's unbelievable here.
I mean, so Spread, does it matter to you when they run into like MJ, when they run into LeBron, when they run into Kobe and Shaq? Like, doesn't that say something about like team? Like, it's just unfortunate, right? You run into the buzzsaw that is, the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq, which is what AI ran into with that team. Karl Malone consistently ran up against MJ. Like it's just tough. You know what I mean? Like, so we comparing, these guys with championships, and it's like, if that's the case, though, then LeBron's still behind some people, right? Like LeBron's still behind MJ. But a lot of people say that LeBron's better, and he might be. We can't define it by championships because it's an absolute ridiculous thing.
Imagine wanting Michael Jordan when you could have Robert Horry, guys. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Also, Rubio, your boy Joe Burrow, he's a certified bum, 0 championships.
Oh, there you go.
That's according to your logic. That's your logic, Rubio. That's it.
That LSU championship's going to get thrown in the chat pretty quick. Watch.
What?
His LSU ring that he won in college. He's going to be like, well, we got that one.
Yeah, it doesn't count. It's not at the professional level,
Well, I agree.
But I'm obviously kidding. I'm just trying to.
I will just say too, Tim Duncan has 5 rings. So can we put him up there with LeBron? Should we start talking about him as the best player in the world? Can we do it?
I think he was the best power forward ever.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know what's funny about him? In my eye, I think he's the way. Like it's kind of like how people look at Jokic in ways. Not that they're the same player because they're totally not the same player, but like boring to watch. Fundamentally, it's not my style. I don't want to watch this type of I think it's kind of how people viewed Tim Duncan when he would bring those Spurs teams to the champ. People would be like, oh, here we go. Another Spurs final. Boring. Like, I never thought they were boring, honestly. But, so a lot of people were like, this is boring.
Do you know why people like Dwight Howard? Because when he blocked a shot, he'd smash it into the stands, right? But Tim Duncan, when he'd block a shot, you know what he'd do? He would block it to his players. Instead of power slamming it into the crowd, he'd go up, block it, and he was so sharp, he would tip it to Tony Parker or Manu Ginobili to get them out in transition rather than just resetting the play.
I used to play with 2 kids who are 6'8" back in high school, and they would literally say to me, I would tell them, like, you block a shot, don't fucking hit it into the stands. Like, try and hit it so, like, we can get it. You know what I mean? Like, you block it, like, block it back or something. They were just like, I would try and do it, but every time I get in that situation, I just want to hammer it. It was just instinctively. I just want to, like, hit it as hard as I could. I'm like, damn it. But
it separates the greats from the not so greats, right? I mean, it was an impressive thing that he did. Also, I don't know if you guys heard, speaking of Tim Duncan, Kyle Lowry, they asked him basically, who do you compare Jokic and Murray to? And his response was, it's hard to like pick one, but if he had to pick one, he said he played against Tony Parker and Tim Duncan, and that's like the best comparison he has. He didn't say it's like a perfect comparison, but he said if I had to pick one that I've played against, that's who I would compare them to.
Well, it's not a perfect comparison because Tony Parker was like mid-range lethal, getting to the paint. Jamal Murray's like kind of everything, but he does do outside of that like perimeter and shooting threes and stuff, and he's lethal that way. So it's not a perfect comparison, but not a terrible one, I guess.
Yeah, it's a lot of respect to Murray and Jokic for sure. Like if you're being told you're kind of that duo or could be compared to that, it must feel pretty good. I'll say that. Well,
and too, for this comment, Bill Russell must be the greatest player of all time, right?
Yeah,
that's the other one. Someone put it in chat, right? Right, Spread? How many rings does Bill Russell have?
What is it, 11?
It's greatest player. Rubio, there's your greatest player of all time right there. Rubio. I mean, you never saw him play, but you know what I mean? He's your greatest player ever right there. It's just not a good comparison to put rings into the situation. Like it really isn't. Like you have to factor in a ton of different things. It's just unfair to say a guy's not great because he didn't get a ring.
Yeah.
Because then you can just throw so many people in that boat.
Do rings matter? Yeah, of course it matters. You're never going to be like, hey, a guy with 0 rings is like the greatest of all time or in like that. Like you got to at least win one to get into even the conversation, right? Like, but you could still say
the greatest of all conversation, not like being a great though, in my opinion.
Correct. You can be great. The question is, can you be great and not win a ring? Yeah, I think you can. I think it's pretty possible. Because if you were somebody building a team in the 90s and I offered you Karl Malone, I offered you John Stockton, I offered you all these guys. I mean, I could go off. Charles Barkley, like Patrick Ewing. Yeah, you would take them on your team for sure.
All right. Well, let's dive into tonight, since I do have you guys with us, right? The experts. I've been watching you guys. JSU, you and Tony have been doing a great job there. I saw the interview with Adam Mares. Follow him on Twitter. That was a lot of fun. But one thing, right? You guys got me all fired up to bet Denver in game 2 after listening to that one. What happened, JSU? I know that Jamal Murray shot goes in at the end. We could be having a different conversation. And then in that case, I'd be all over Miami tonight. I wanted to bet them down 2-0 going back home. But that's not the case. Let's start with you, JSU. What do you think of tonight?
I mean, I think a few things happened that kind of changed the way game 2 went a little bit. First of all, starting Kevin Love, that was actually a big thing that maybe people see, maybe they don't, but it caused Jimmy Butler got to play on Jamal to start, which I think helped. He was fighting through screens a lot, doing a good job. The bigger size helped them kind of with AG. If you guys remember game 1, AG got off to a hot start because they were switching, getting littles on him. They did less of that, and Kevin Love did a better job, obviously, and Max Struss and a few of these other guys where they weren't getting that little switched on the big. So that helped a ton. I think another thing that Miami did in a little adjustment was they tried to make Jokic the primary scorer, which if you watch game 1, he was the primary facilitator, right? So it went from Jokic being the guy to create for others. And then they're like, no, wait, this is not a good idea because Jokic is getting his no matter what. That game, Jokic had like 26 or 27 points in game 1, but it was like effortless. You didn't even realize it because he was setting everyone up. And then he just found a way to get his in the flow throughout the game. But in this game, in game 2, Miami said, we're going to try and stop you from being a facilitator as best we can. And we're going to force you to say, all right, drop 50 on us and see if you can beat us. And that is clearly, I've said this for a year now, that is clearly the way to guard Jokic. He does not want to score 40 or 50. He can score 40 or 50. It's not something that he thinks he can't do. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he does not want to. He likes to get everyone else involved and then get hits. All right. And that's how I think Denver best clicks. So when they say they play bad or stuff like that, I think that's the others saying like, man, maybe we didn't hit shots. Maybe we didn't, try as hard to execute a little better on offense to get more of that flow in the offense. But I think it was more Miami swaps defensively. They were kind of blitzing Murray a little bit too, switching things up. There was one time where Kevin Love went and helped off of Aaron Gordon, and that was the one time where Jokic threw that pass like he was shooting it. You guys remember that? Mm-hmm. He like shot it, and Aaron Gordon caught it and dunked it in or whatever. And it's like, but for a lot of the game, there was less of that, and I think that was one of the big things. Let him just go at Bam and drop 40 and whatever. And I think that gives Miami their best chance. And we saw on the other side, Miami offensively, what did they change? Well, in my opinion, obviously Bam still shot some mid-range shots, but their shooters got involved. Gabe Vincent was actually getting into the paint and shooting little mid-range bunnies, which he got at the regular in the beginning of that game. Max Struss was open, and he was still shooting the same threes he got in game 1 pretty much. In game 2, guess what, though? He started hitting some of them. So, like, they didn't really change much offensively. I think it was more the defensive where they kind of changed it up a little bit, starting with Kevin Love. And I thought that was their best lineup, by the way, guys. I know they finished a little different, but I thought that was the best lineup.
And it shows you how much, especially for role players, that fit and matchup matters. Because Kevin Love, to me, was virtually unplayable in that Boston series where, Boston can go small too. They decided their best lineup was with either Horford or Williams on the floor. Now Love's kind of unplayable. Against the Nuggets, size has been an issue, right? You got Aaron Gordon, 6'10", running around out there, right? I mean, that's a big front court. Porter 6'10", Gordon 6'10", Jokic is a 7-footer. Now you need Kevin Love out there. You need some low post defense, which you really did not need against Boston. And it shows how much that's important. Travis, let me get your thoughts on tonight's game. I was kind of torn, but the more I'm going through stuff, I'm leaning more and more towards Denver, but I can still be swayed here. They say that I don't change my mind. That's not true. Travis, what are your thoughts on tonight's game?
Yeah, if I had to pick a side, which I'm still torn on if I'm going to take a side or a total more, I do think I like the Nuggets if I had to pick, right? I take a -3. I think the Heat are good, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the series is going to go longer than people think. I don't think it's going to be this 4-0 or 4-1 like everyone thought. The Heat are not just going to go away quietly. But I think the Nuggets will win a competitive game. It feels like the Nuggets have done a really good job of bouncing back in spots, right? Like Mike Malone we'll give him credit. It seems like when they make mistakes or they need to kind of get a fire lit under him, Malone's done a decent job of that. Another thing too, Spread, that one of my buddies brought up, and it was a good point. I don't think a lot of people understand the Nuggets had not lost a game in almost a month. I mean, it was like May 7th, I think, when their last loss was, if you think about how the series went, right? Suns, they beat them. It was 2-2, and they beat them 2 games in a row. After they beat them 2 games in a row, you had the little bit of a layoff. Then you had the Lakers. They 4-0'd them, and then you had a long layoff, right, leading into the finals as well. So there was a long period of time without having a loss, right? It just sometimes that can happen. I think they'll bounce back here in this game. So I like the Nuggets -3 if I had to pick. I do think the total might be a little bit better, the under on the 214.5. Mainly because if you've been watching the games, it seems like Miami doesn't turn the ball over a lot. The Nuggets, they're very efficient on offense as well. They're not a huge turnover prone team. Both teams are really good in their half court defense. So they're obviously that's going to grind out the shot clocks even longer. They're also good in transition defense where there's not free and easy buckets being scored over and over again. And yeah, I think the Nuggets, we made fun of them a lot during the regular season that their defense, wasn't great or whatever. But you can make the argument was more, hey, it's regular season and pace of play was part of it too, right? When you're running up and down the court, scoring at will on offense, then you just kind of get a little lazier on defense. It kind of just becomes a transition game where the pace gets dictated, and that's why those games were higher scoring. So overall, those are my leans right now. I don't feel like I have these like super confident bets today. And on the prop street Spread, it's brutal. I went and looked. There are not a ton of good props. Like the juices on these props are absurd. These books are basically trying to rob people. They're basically saying, hey, we know it's the NBA Finals. We know what lines should be efficient and not, and we're going to make sure to heavily juice them to try and screw you over. So
yeah, I just don't think they want the action, right? Because they know that, like Jamal Murray over 2.5 threes, right? Oh, I love that bet. Oh, it's -167. Well, I'd rather bet over 3.5 threes than at close to even money. But you guys can probably get that on my offshores. I'm not able.
They're giving really bad lines for sure. Of course,
I think it's just they don't want the action because they know.
Well, they don't want that action, but two, they know they're going to get enough action and just not giving out crap juice, right? This isn't a random game on a Thursday in February, right? This is the NBA Finals. Like, one of my buddies DM'd me. He's one of my best friends, and he asked me for bets sometimes, and he hit me with give me some entertainment tonight. You know what I mean? Like, well, why does he want entertainment? It's not a random February, right? It's the NBA Finals. He's probably watching the game and watching it with friends, and it just. Yeah, that's why. So they're literally robbing you of lines right now, in my opinion.
I want to make one point on your breakdown, and then I got a nice question for Tyler. You talked about the Nuggets defense, and I know that overall they weren't rated that high. But if you sorted by the last 6 minutes of the game, they had the best defense in the league. So they knew how to clamp down when it mattered. And it looks like, oh, my guy Otter in the over. I love the new avatar there.
It's fair spread. And one more point to bring up too. Like, and this is one thing my one buddy brought up in the Nuggets-Lakers series, right? We went back and forth. The Lakers are a team that gets fouled a ton. But on the flip side, the Nuggets are a team that doesn't foul a lot, right? And so you're getting less free throws as well. So it's less, and we know what's the definition of a free throw. What's in the name? It's supposed to be a free bucket. My uncle used to yell and be like, how can Shaq not make a free throw? It's free. Well, Shaq's not a good free throw shooter. I don't know what to tell you. He slams the basketball in the hoop. But overall, like, it just, there's not as much free throws, right? And that's going to help overall. Free throws leads to higher scoring games. So and it's the NBA playoffs too as well. I just think the under's a good bet. I'm curious to hear why Otter's on the over. That is interesting to hear. I wish the line was a little better. Another thing you do is you could easily wait and hope to maybe have an offensive surge to start the game and then maybe find the line at 218.5 and then hit the under. I don't know. That's something you can do.
I think you're more likely to have a slow start tonight as these teams come out really intense. I think you're going to see a fired up Nuggets team. They came out lazy in game 2. Malone got on them. He's one of the few coaches that's not, Joe Mazzulla. It's on me. He straight called out his players. Interested to see how that works. But Tyler, when we're done with the show, we're going to be filling out the NBA playbook. And of course, if you want access to that, you're going to head on over to runpuresports.com. Before I was pitching my own promo code, but we've decided to be generous and go even more, right? We're almost doubling it now, or more than doubling it. The promo code is SUMMER33. So, of course, the NBA playbook's winding down, but that doesn't mean you can't get access to the great picks from great minds such as Joey Work and JJ, who are giving us baseball and tennis all summer. I'll be diving in, giving out the tennis winners as soon as the NBA season's over, and I can really concentrate on it. But the point is, for the best in sports gambling and daily fantasy information, you want to become a member of runpuresports.com. And, of course, that promo code is SUMMER33. But Tyler, for the intelligent gentlemen that are already members, they're going to go look at our playbook later today, and they're going to look for those RPB tags, continue to bet them. We went 25-9 during the month of May. So we're doing really good in the playoffs. We're up over 40 units on the year, so it's definitely been worth the price of the subscription. But I'm going to tell you this fact, Tyler, that I'm giving to everyone here. Since 2007, in games where the spread is 6 points or less, there's 74 of them. The team that won the game is 72-0 with 2 pushes, right? So it's essentially just pick the winner. And we have the same stat in the NFL playoffs, right? Remember we talked about it, kind of the same one on the wild cards and stuff like that, where the team that wins, wins. The spread doesn't matter. So if I'm telling you, Tyler, we're throwing those 3 points out the window, we're trying to pick the winner, what team are we going to put that RPB tag next to?
I think it's going to be the Heat tonight spread. I mean, these two guys.
Damn it, I do not want to hear that. We might.
These two guys gave great breakdowns. There's not much left to nitpick here. I mean, they talked about everything. But one thing I heard that was key that caught my eye, it was from Steve Kerr on the Draymond podcast. Mm-hmm. They brought up Jokic's stat line from last game. When they got to his assist, Draymond said, "What does that tell you about that?" He's like, "You got to let Jokic do his thing." Like there's the head of the snake on Denver. We all want to say it's Jokic. Jokic is his own snake altogether. You got to let him get his. You're not going to be able to stop him. Jamal Murray's the head of the snake when it comes to Denver. If you slow him down, the rest of these guys can't really get going. MPJ's just lost. He can't make a jump shot. His rebounding's good, but his defense is lacking also. KCP's lost. He's not getting open shots either. These two guys aren't doing much. I think they go more to Bruce Brown tonight. That's one guy's props I'm looking to target. Like his PRA is at 16.5. I think he can clear that number pretty easily tonight. I think he eats into the MPJ minutes because he might not be able to shoot as well as MPJ, but he can cut to the hoop and split the zone they're running. But the other thing, the reason I like Miami here, when they come home in these game 3 spread, you just look back at what they've done this whole playoff run. They went to Milwaukee for 2 games. The moment they came back to Miami, they blasted Milwaukee. They won that game by 21. They played the Knicks. They rolled back into Miami. They blasted them in game 3. They did the same thing to Boston in game 3. It's almost like when teams come to Miami for that first game, something's bothering them. These Miami shooters are going to shoot better in their arena also. I think the side's going to be Miami tonight. I think they go up 2-1. You see Denver kind of struggle in their first game in Miami, and then they bounce back in game 4 to tie it. But I think it's Miami tonight spread, and I don't have much on the total. It's right in that range where I could see like a 108, 105 game, 109, 104. So I'm just staying completely away from the total. I think it falls somewhere right in that number.
All right. Well, JSU, as long as you're here, help me get some winners here over on the DFS side. I got DraftKings pulled up. And, of course, you guys want that in-depth information, runpuresports.com, become a member, Summer33. You'll get access to the core plays, the player pools. And, of course, Rubio's in the chat. He's got the GOAT symbol. He should be talking about the greatest playbooks because his Showdown playbook has been absolutely fire. And you've seen it if you're following Rubio. At Rubio Dimes on Twitter. I mean, it's just like a screenshot every day. We're getting numb to it, right? I mean, I don't even feel like telling him congratulations anymore, JSU. He's just getting so many of these screenshots. But help me out here, man. I want to get Jokic in this lineup. He's 15-2 just in the utility spot. He's 22-8 if I want to play him as captain. How do we approach this, JSU?
Yeah, real quick, just to kind of hit on one more point, though. I think one other thing that is lacking in this conversation that someone in the chat brought up, I'm trying to remember who it was, but I'll find it in a second. But I think MPJ in his effort between game 1 and game 2 was really one of the biggest differences for Denver in general as a team from game 1 to game 2. So if you look at the fact that MPJ pretty much had a terrible game in game 2, and they still had a chance to tie this game up and go in overtime and win the game. And the game was only a 3-point game. And you're telling me that this team like had a really bad game and Miami shot almost 50% from 3 and they still almost had a chance to win at the end of the game. I think one of the reasons why their defense was better too, Spread, was because they brought in Bruce Brown, honestly, because MPJ was bad on defense. And I think that's one of the biggest things too. Now they do have it, but I think MPJ is key because when he is in on defense and he's blocking shots, which he was in game 1, he was down in his stance. He was getting in passing lanes. He was disruptive. He was good, honestly. I think that's the major difference between game 1 and game 2. And you'll be able to see that right away in game 3. Is he in it? You'll be able to tell in the first quarter because he did look kind of out of it, kind of frustrated, not getting the shots that he was looking for, maybe not getting the ball as much. And normally with Denver's offense, it's very like free-flowing. Jokic finds who's open. Well, when they're trying to slow his assist down and trying to force him into offense, they're trying to tighten up on everyone else, right? They're not helping as much. But that's going to hurt the others. So can MPJ find a way to still create within that offensive set is key because when he's on offensively, he's probably a little better defensively, right? When he's not as frustrated offensively. So I think that's going to be a key thing to watch in the series, especially in this game going into Miami. But I mean, I don't know. I think Denver wins this game. I just laid it out. Their team was not good in the last game. They still had a chance to win, and Miami's team was good. And the role players did play great. So, yeah, they're going to go back home. I think the role players are going to play great again, I'm sure, for Miami because they are home. But I still think Denver has an easy chance to win this game for sure. Even if MPJ did play bad, they still have good players to replace him with, like Bruce Brown and other guys. But I think MPJ bounces back. I think the team plays better. I think Denver wins this game. So, Mangone needs to say it with his chest either way. He can't tiptoe around it like Spread's doing here when fucking Tyler says, I want
Can
the
you
team.
imagine guys not picking sides?
Oh, are you kidding me? I didn't want to hear that.
I didn't. I thought that we'd be aligned. I thought that we'd be ready to hit the RPB tag next to Denver. It looks like we're going to be continuing this debate.
I got one question for all three of you guys. How much do you guys factor in the first quarter tonight? I think it factors in big. Whichever team wins the first quarter tonight, I think is pretty much going to win the game because whoever sets their tone right off the bat is just going to control this game. If
I'm on Denver and they're down by 5,
game 1. Don't remember Denver in the second quarter being down 12, and they came soaring back, and then that
was all the Cody Zeller minutes. We ain't seeing those tonight.
I'm just saying though.
And in game 2, wasn't Denver up by 15 going into halftime?
Yeah,
I don't think. I understand your point, Tyler, but if I'm on Denver or whoever I'm on, I'm not worried if they're down by 5 points at the end of the first quarter.
Okay.
Yeah, me neither. We're going to see runs in this game where I wouldn't be worried about that. I'm more focused on are the starters the best players for Denver? Are they actually in the game? If MPJ plays like he did last game, that's going to be disaster for Denver, in my opinion. I think he's a key player in this game. Not that they need him to score. I just think they need his size, his three-point ability to stretch the floor out there. Even though I like Bruce Brown, I don't think it's good when Bruce Brown is just stealing all of his minutes because he's just not into it defensively. I think it actually hurts the team in a lot of different ways because even though Bruce Brown is a solid role player, I think he should be playing 21, 22 minutes, and MPJ should be able to play a little bit more and affect the game in just different ways just because he is taller, bigger, the size,
that was the main thing I was just saying.
rebounding.
You're giving away one of your biggest advantages. If I'm picking Denver and I'm all over Denver tonight, I'm hammering that size advantage. We should do better rebounding, right? And we know that rebounding wins at this point of the season. Rebounding matters. So you're taking a guy who's 6'10", and now you're with Bruce Brown, 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, I mean, he plays bigger than he is, spread, but like still, it's not MPJ.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but help me out here, guys. I want to make a winning lineup here. Of course, I'm going to use Rubio's Showdown playbook, but let's give something to the people, right? Some people, they might only be playing the 25 cents, right? It's not in their budget to become a member right now, but maybe they'll take this lineup and they can use some of the winnings to become a Run Pure member. But I don't know how to build a lineup tonight, JSU. I'm lost. Even starting at the captain. Of course, I want to get Jokic in there, but it's just so hard without sacrificing the rest of my team. How are you approaching it?
Yeah, well, right off the bat, if you get Jokic in the captain spot, and then let's just say you were to throw in one more stud, whether it's a Murray or Butler, you're down to like just under 4K for each 4 positions left over. So, yeah, that's a tight roster construction. So I think what that's going to do, though, is honestly, it's going to bring people into this mid-tier more to try and find a mid-tier captain in general. So, like, I think you're going to see, we saw Gabe Vincent captains do well, honestly, the last 2 slates, but last slate, obviously, it shipped. I think we're going to see more of that with some of these Miami role players. I know Caleb Martin was sick last game, but, I think he's healthier today. You're going to see more in this mid-tier spread, which is going to allow you to, try and get a little more of that safety in your lineup. So, like, just for instance, right here, if you're trying to build like a safe lineup, I definitely think it's trying to find the mid-tier captain who can do enough for you to get into studs and still not feel like you're sacrificing for your last 2 spots at the bottom. Because, like, right now at the bottom, Cody Zeller's 1K. But we've seen that, right? He's gotten 8 minutes the last 2 games. Really and truly, he shouldn't be playing is the point here. But like Christian Braun, he was great last game, but I don't know if he's going to give you – he won a ton of minutes last game. I don't know if he's going to get that in this game. So, like, I think Kevin Love, who they're going to start, I think he's a guy you want in the util. So if we just go there and we put like I don't know, like, so give me a mid-tier captain, even a Bam. If you like Bam or something like that.
The 3 that I'm throwing around right now are Strus, Vincent, or Martin. Who would you like of those 3?
I'd like Vincent, Strus, Martin in that order if I was clicking it. But I think this honestly gives you like the best path. You go the Love, and it gives you Jokic. You can still get one more stud in there, and that gives you 3 guys that are solid, but not going the top tier and going more in that mid tier. I think for the captain is going to be the winner. And I'm going to be on me and Big T are going to go on at around 7:15, and we'll kind of break down each position and each salary going from the top.
Now,
to the
is that for everybody, or is that only for the premium?
Yeah, for the members, for the Run Pure Sports subscribers. So if you want to use the code Summer33, get in for your month's package.
And if you're new, make sure you ask the questions in the Discord and not on the YouTube chat. I saw some guy named Holden. He must be new. He was asking questions in the YouTube chat.
Yeah, Holden just likes to disrupt when he's not on the shows. So hopefully he's on the show today, so then he won't have a chance to disrupt in the chat. But we'll literally be talking about like what our projection should be for these guys and what we're going to project around these guys at. So we make sure we get, certain players over certain players, and we'll kind of go through the entire, salaries and stuff from top to bottom and really focus on how to construct good, solid lineups. So if you guys want to, hang out, watch that 7:15 Eastern today. It's going to be just for members, like I said. So 33% off. Summer 33 promo code. Use it.
All right, Travis, help me out here. Of course, I will be watching that show later or listening. I don't always watch. So if you guys do cool stuff on the screen, I miss it. But how are you approaching tonight's showdown build, Travis? Do you have any insight? Do you like my 3 captain choices, or Should I be going somewhere else?
I'm going to use the code SUMMER33 to get 33% off and go hang out with JSU and BigT and Rubio's playbook. But I do think, obviously, like, so if you started off, right, like, I think JSU brought up a point where, like, you could play Kevin Love and Jokic, right? If you play that combination together instantly, you right then and there have 6,200 for your last four spots. So let's just plug Jimmy in just to see how much that leaves us all together. Now that's 4,200. This leaves us with and that's 4,200 for each position. That leaves us in the range of the only guys we can really mess around with are kind of Lowry, Struss, Duncan Robinson, Highsmith, Jeff Green, Christian Braun. One argument you could make with this Jokic build, especially if you go with Butler, right, is it's going to be tough to really get in some of these other guys. Do you want to play Struss and Duncan Robinson together? Not exactly. Do you want to play like KCP and Bruce Brown? Like, they could be together, but I still think they can cut into each other a little bit. Same with like a Lowry and Vincent. Jeff Green and Braun. Do you feel good about both of them together? Not really. You feel good about Haywood Highsmith with Kevin Love? I mean, it's okay. But the point I'm getting at is I don't know if you can do like the double stud. I think if you do the Jokic and Love thing, you probably have to consider either a Murray or an Adebayo. Maybe it's one of these other mid-tier options. One other thing that I try to look at when I play Showdown is how can I make some like what's like the big fade that I could make that maybe could get me, over the top or over the finish line? Because sometimes that is what gets you there. Sometimes people are grinding to find that 9% guy. Like, listen, sometimes these guys are 9% owned just because, there's no one to play, right? It's Showdown. So sometimes finding the biggest fade is kind of important. So Bam Adebayo has looked great this series. Do we think that continues? That's the question. Well, the minutes are going to be there, right? That's one of the keys because he's going up against Jokic. So I think he's certainly in play as one of those studs. Jamal Murray, he has definitely struggled shooting. You feel like the shot attempts are down a bit. You feel like they're keying in on him. Like the first game, yeah, he got the 22 shots, but I'm heavily weighting the last game's data because I think they're going to play more the way that they played in that game. Also, Jamal Murray, if you're going to have him grind out in those pick and rolls and everything, I think it's going to be tough. I think they're going to let the ball go into Jokic's hands a little bit more. They're going to deny Murray, kind of like Tyler talked about a bit. So I don't know if I want to pay the Jamal Murray price tag as much. Also, we get Jamal Murray on the road. I know Tyler doesn't like Jamal Murray on the road. I know that's something he always likes to talk about. We get him on the road here. You can make the argument Bam Adebayo might be the best stud of these guys between Butler, Murray, and Bam. That 3K savings just could be worth it. Here's just one 2v2 that we'll plug in. You plug in Jimmy Butler and you plug in, I like Max Struss a lot, but you got Butler and Struss, and let's just change it out for Bam Adebayo from Struss. That's 4.4. You can get all the way up to Michael Porter Jr. So that's an exact 2v2. Butler and Struss versus Porter Jr. and Bam. And then it depends what you think of those mid-tier guys. To be fair, you can make an argument that mid-tier is not great on DraftKings today. Like, I haven't built that many teams, but sometimes I think an interesting strategy that you can go about is if you notice you're just getting teams that push you onto Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Caleb Martin. One, you can underproject those guys a lot. Or two, let's say you're playing like 50 teams in that big tournament. Maybe dedicate 10 to 20 of your teams to just Xing those guys out completely to give you different types of construction. So like those are things that I'm going to be looking to do. I haven't looked that deep into it yet, spread, but one thing I noticed when kind of talking it out and hearing JSU talk about it, I heard him say he didn't like to really do the Jokic spend as much at the captain and like to go with that mid-tier route. And I just wanted to see, let's like kind of do it on air right here and kind of talk it through. And more I look at it, the Jokic spend is going to be a bit more difficult. I'm curious to see what the optimizer says to do. For one, I'm going to go into Saber Sim. I'm going to bump Jokic's projection up a lot because I think he's going to be really awesome. But sometimes, even when a guy has a really high projection, he is not the winning captain. Like, it's just, that's how the math sometimes works. So I'm going to mess around with it. I'm going to make my adjustments. I think I'm going to adjust down probably this range of the Michael Porter Jr., Caleb Martin, Aaron Gordon range. I'm not as excited about these Nuggets players besides Jokic. I think they are going to, I don't think they're going to outperform their expectations. I think some of these guys are going to struggle. Like, I think KCP, I think he's going to struggle throughout this game. You got him now on the road as a shooter in this environment, and they've been playing good defense on him. I just don't think KCP is great. That's one prop bet that I'm going to have today is I'm betting the under on KCP at 1.5 3-pointers. I just think it's going to be a tougher spot for him. So, overall, I think you want to make sure you get exposure to a lot of these guys that are playing minutes too. And that's going to require you, I think, to get on Miami Heat options rather than Nuggets. Like I see my teams being heavier, I think, on the Heat rather than on some of these Nuggets options. Yes, I'm going to be heavy on Jokic, but Jokic could do a ton on his own. And a lot of these Nuggets guys could naturally fail. So that's kind of the route that I'm going just because I think the way the pricing is set up, I think some of these Heat options are more appealing. And one more thing I'm going to call out. I like Gabe Vincent a lot. I think Gabe Vincent is awesome, but you got to think about some of these options like Gabe Vincent and Kyle Lowry. If Kyle Lowry is out there hitting threes, he's going to keep hitting threes and they're going to let him, right? It's going to be a hot hand approach. You could make the argument to maybe like, hey, Max Struss and Duncan Robinson, you could separate them from each other. To be fair, Max Struss crushed last game, got 29.5. Duncan Robinson, he did hit a bunch of threes. He only got 12.5, but you could make the argument that some of these guys that on the Heat cut into each other's productions, make rules that they're not together. Maybe you make a rule that Bruce Brown and Michael Porter Jr. are not on teams together because they can eat into each other's minutes as well. Yes, I think at times you can limit some of the teams you get, but I don't think everyone here is playing 150 lineups. And if you look at the end of the night and you see a team that's at the top of the leaderboard and you're like, wow, I have Max Struss and Duncan Robinson together, like, I don't know. I just don't think you're going to be that excited about it. And I think one guy I'm going to probably lock on most of my teams, it'll probably be Kevin Love, just because Kevin Love shot terribly, still played 22 minutes. He's 2.4K. Very good chance I just have him on all my teams. And there's a good chance I have Jokic captain or Jokic in the flex on all my teams as well.
One question I have for you guys. How quick do you think the hook is for Mike Malone on MPJ if he's playing bad? And how much does that increase Bruce Brown? Because if you plug in Bruce Brown at your captain spot, put Jokic in the U2 and Kevin Love, you get 8,300 to fill out those last 3 spots. You could do a lot with that.
So to answer your question, number one, I think it's a quick hook if it's bad. But number two, I don't think he's going to be that bad again. So I think that was a wake-up call for him and for the whole team. Right? I think the Nuggets were kind of feeling like Tony and Adam Morris, right? After that Game 1 win, like, oh, we got this. Let's start planning our victory parade route. And I think the Heat smacked him back into earth. And I think we're going to see a much more focused effort from the coaching staff all the way down to the floor tonight.
So, Tyler, one thing I would think about when you kind of do that is like, so if you build Brown, Jokic, and Love team, 8,300, like you said, naturally, what is the thing to do? You plug in Murray, you plug in Bam. Oh, look, I have 4,400 for Max Struss. Like, that thing is duped. Like, if you play Bruce Brown captain, like, everyone's going to have that team. So, like,
he's not going to be that high at captain, though. What do you think his ownership at captain?
But it's not that he's going to be that high. It's if you play Bruce Brown at captain and you in an optimizer, that will be the number one team. Like, everyone will get it. So, like, it'll be decently duped. I just don't know how much.
Okay.
I mean,
I understand.
I mean, they're all always it's NBA. You're going to be duped. Like, it's the balance of
just a question of how many.
Yeah, like, so it could be fine for sure. Because, like, I'm thinking back, the Max Struss Duke teams the other day, those teams were like, some of them were winning like $80,000 and like 50. Like, those are great dupes. Like, even like 20, like, where it starts to get tough, it's like, yeah, sure, I'm down to win like 1,000 or 2,000, but like, you don't want to be.
What did the main chop for in Game 2? What was it? It was $250K to first, and all those guys got $2,700.
$2,700.
Gabe Vincent captain one. It's probably one of the top ones too. Is super duped.
So that's what I'm talking about. It's like, so like that Gabe Vincent captain team was probably the optimal Gabe Vincent captain team. The difference, so this is where it gets interesting. The difference between a Gabe Vincent captain team that's the optimal one and like maybe the next one is different. Like, so let me just plug this in. Let's do a Bruce Brown, Jokic, and Kevin Love, and then let's not play the Jamal Murray and Bam because most of the teams will go.
I'm fine staying away from both those players too, and I'll give you reasons. Number one, It didn't happen in game 1, but the adjustment was made when Kevin Love went on game 2. What was that Tyler talked about before the series when he liked the Miami Heat? He said Jimmy's going to be on Jamal Murray. Jimmy's a tough guy to score him. I'm fine staying away from Jamal Murray.
I don't want to lose Bam though, because I think Bam.
Here's my thing about Bam though. Look at his game log against the Celtics. He crushed in game 1 and 2 against the Celtics, and then he disappeared. Right? In games 1 and 2, he was a top 15 player according to Twitter.
The Nuggets aren't going to the bench like they did for the Celtics. Like they're not going to take the bigs off the floor. Like those guys.
And I'm not saying I'm fading Bam completely, but I'm just saying if Travis wants to make a build where neither of those two players in it, I'm completely comfortable with that. I don't think either of those guys are must-haves at work at all. And I'm fine building. The one I built right now doesn't have either of those guys in it.
So the best part about Miami is that literally their role player, like their stars, will give to the role players if they're open. They play like a real team. So like there were points in stretches in this playoffs in last game and the last game against the Celtics where their lineup without Jimmy Butler on the floor was cruising. So what did Spo do? He let Jimmy rest an extra minute or two, and he let that lineup keep going. It happened with Duncan. Now, I'm not saying he left Jimmy on the bench the whole fourth quarter or whatever, but he did let him rest an extra minute or two, I think, before coming back in because the team is literally a team. They're built through we're going to make the right plays, the right reads. Of course, if Jimmy is one-on-one, he's going to the hole or he's taking them, whatever. Same thing with Bam, but if their players are open, they're going to get it. So in reality, there is a real path to where like one or both of them don't have a great game and they're still in the game.
So let's talk about this idea. Now, I'm not saying that this is what you should do, but these are the strategies that we talk about in NFL Showdown. We talk about it in all different ones. So let's say you play that Bruce Brown captain that seems pretty optimal, right? Struss, Bam Adebayo, and Murray. Like if you run projections, like it would just spit those three. This is how we change it. Let's say it's that Gabe Vincent type chop where it's like $2,000. How much would that chop be if you changed Max Struss on this team to Duncan Robinson and left $1,000 on the table? Now, if that chop changes from $2,000 to $20,000, well, that's a 10x difference. Is the Duncan Robinson 10x difference worth it? I know we're getting really deep in the rabbit hole of like trying to figure out these things, but I'm just saying Duncan Robinson and Max Struss are very similar type of players. And if Max Struss is not hot and Duncan Robinson is, and I know everyone's going to say, and I'm with you, role players play better at home, but you just don't know. Duncan Robinson could easily get hot at home, and then they just keep riding him out, right? So point I'm getting at is if you do play like some of these guys like the Bruce Browns and stuff like that, there are some pretty cool, unique ship options. Like another thing you can do is, well, everyone plays Gabe Vincent at 5,600. Maybe you build a team that's zeroed out salary and you take out Gabe Vincent and you play Kyle Lowry.
I was going to say that exactly. I love that. And it might not work, but it's a great way to get contrarian. And I can easily envision a big Kyle Lowry game.
Spread. It's not like you're hoping Jovic goes into the game and gets minutes. And like it's just all it is you're hoping that Gabe Vincent misses his shots, Kyle Lowry plays better, and like maybe Gabe Vincent gets in foul trouble and Kyle Lowry earns more opportunity. It's just natural leverage. It's like saying, hey, everyone is on the wide receiver 1. He's going to be 80% owned, and wide receiver 2 is going to be 20% owned. And I'm just taking a chance on that instead. And it's like if Kyle Lowry crushes and has a big game, there is a lower percentage chance that Gabe Vincent doesn't. I mean, obviously every single slate is different, but some of these guys eat into each other clearly, right? It's like Bruce Brown, Michael Porter Jr., they eat into each other a ton. Vincent and Lowry, it didn't seem like they would. In that one game, they ended up being on the same team, but I think part of the reason why was they were both just too cheap. Some of the salaries have adjusted on these guys. So it's something you have to think about when looking at your teams. I definitely build more with the optimizer, but if you're hand building or maybe you see some teams that you don't think make sense, you could just make that quick 1v1 swap if you want to. So I don't know if JSU messes with that too much. I know him and Tony talk about these things, but I've listened to you guys talk. Have you talked about making these switches with these guys that seem like identical players, right? Like Kyle Lowry and Vincent, they kind of can replace each other. Doug, you can make the case Kevin Love and Haywood Highsmith, they kind of replace each other for different roles. They're not the same player.
Kind of. I think the thing I think the problem with that is now that Kevin Love's starting and Caleb Martin's not going anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. You kind of need multiple things to happen. You need to get down big. Then you need him to come out there and be hustling and all over the place. We said before game 2 is he could literally play 2 minutes in this game, going from being one of the better players off the bench to playing like literally no minutes. And that's what happened.
Yeah. So, well, Jesse, what I'm saying is I think having rules in there, like if you're somehow thinking of like you're playing 150 and you're going to play Haywood Highsmith, you would never play him with Kevin Love, even though he's an amazing value on this slate. So like what I'm trying to get at is sometimes you can just make swaps. Like I said, Duncan Robinson and Max Strussless, and they cut into each other. You're not going to have both those guys on the court that often throughout it. Now, yes, they're cheap at 4,400 and 3,400. It's harder for them to be on the winner, but if they are going to be on the winner, it's probably with like Jokic as the captain, right? Like it's I don't know.
And it's kind of like what happened last game is what would have to happen, right? Max Struss has like a really good stretch, really, really good. And then Duncan Robinson in the fourth quarter steals some minutes because he has that big stretch and runs enough. Like that's what would have to happen. But again, I wouldn't set rules with them just because they are so cheap. That's the only reason why I don't know if I'd set a rule with them.
So I don't think I don't think you need to set the rule, but the point I was getting at was you can sometimes just literally say these two players are identical players. One is 1,000 less, swap it out, and the team will be more unique. I'm not saying you'll for sure win, but the chop will turn from $2,000 or $3,000 to maybe 30 or 15. Like it will be a very big jump, and it could be worth taking that chance. And it just depends. So it's something to think about, especially if you're a hand builder.
RunPureSports.com, promo code SUMMER33. Become a member. Take advantage of that now. During the meat of the NBA season, you guys were only getting 15% off. We bumped it up to 33%. So you can get some of those baseball and, hey, even WNBA winners. I think we got a great question here from Jason Graham. Do you think Butler's offense struggles by guarding Murray full-time again? I do think that Butler's going to guard him a lot again. Do you think the offense struggles? Start with you, JSU.
I mean, do I think the offense struggles?
Because
he was, he was okay offensively, I thought. I mean, I know his numbers would say that, he didn't shoot that great from the field. He wasn't, awful, though. He had 21 points. He got to the free throw line a little bit. I don't know. If you told
the guy was averaging 37 points for, first two rounds.
Fred, here's the difference, though. I think they're playing him differently. I think Jimmy knows that it's not about him just getting his. It's kind of like the reverse of Jokic, where they want Jokic to be the primary scorer on for Miami's side of thinking. I don't think Denver's going in saying we want Jimmy to score. I think they're going in saying we need to stop him from scoring and make everyone else beat us, right? That's why you're seeing the Bam multiple 20-point games, and he's had 40 shots in the last 2 games, right? That's why you're seeing Gabe Vincent take a ton of shots. Max Struss shoot 10 friggin' threes a game. Duncan Robinson come in there and score. It was Caleb Martin last series, right? Which nobody saw in the world except for me, who called it before game 1.
I did. No, to be fair, JSU, I said on this rundown that Caleb Martin would be pivotal to guarding Jaylen Brown throughout the series.
But that wasn't why he was pivotal, Mangone. That's your one difference right there. That's what
I said in game 1. I said he'd play more because of that. And we need to play him in Showdown because he'd get more minutes. I didn't know he'd turn into Michael Jordan.
Well, I mean, I didn't know they were going to leave him literally ghosted alone in the goddamn corner shooting threes. I didn't know that. I just knew he was better in the game than Kevin Love. Everyone was saying Kevin Love, and I was like, no, it's not a Kevin Love series. And then we revert back to this game, and he comes back down to earth. But my point is, though, he comes back down to earth not because of the reasons anyone really – it's because they're actually guarding him. The Celtics literally didn't guard him in the first couple games. I mean, think about it, too. Spread, go back and watch all of his the first like 2 or 3 games, go back and watch all those jump shots. They were all wide open. Like, go back and watch all the layups he got. They were because he got switched on a big like Robert Williams, who was literally sagging in the paint. So he had a running head start and just went right into his body and then laid it in. Multiple times it happened. So like the difficulty, they're saying, okay, we actually have to put a body in front of Caleb Martin now. So he's not getting those open looks where he can just set his feet and then take a second and shoot a jump shot. Literally in the NBA, no player should be allowed to like look at the rim, set their feet, take a second. And then he was like thinking about it. Like, should I shoot this shot? Oh, no one's still on me. Okay, I'll shoot it. That's what Caleb Martin was doing against the Celtics all series. He's not doing that in this series because they're not allowing him to do it. But my point back to Jimmy is I think it's more Denver and how they're trying to stop Jimmy from shooting. They're trying to get Bam to shoot more, right? Malone said it after the first game. He's like, if that dude takes 25 shots, I'll live with him scoring 25 points. I don't care. No shit. So this is to my point, though. I don't think we're coming at Jimmy because he scored 37 in one series or averaged 37 or whatever it is, and now he's only averaging 20 or whatever it is. I think that's more designed from the defense. They're trying not to get him to shoot the ball. They don't want him to get to the free throw line. Everything is not going for the pump fake, all that stuff. So all these other role players have to step up. And we saw it in game 2. A lot of the guys did step up.
We're talking about Jimmy right now. I got to ask you what about a Jimmy Butler captain build for tonight? How wise do you think that would be? You're not as worried about duping as much, are you? I mean, do you think people are going to be putting him in there?
Yeah, I think projections will put him in there a little bit. Mango, what do you think?
I actually just built a Jimmy Butler just to see like what it would look like. So I was genuinely curious, and I mean, this team does look good. It goes Butler, Jokic, Love, and then it's you're left with. Let me see. You're left with 4,800 for the last 3 spots. It's a lot of guys in that range. That's all. Like there's a ton you can kind of pepper in there. So I think it is interesting. Another thing about Jimmy, I just feel like the thing with him, Spread, is like, listen, he's an urgency guy, right? Like if you think the Miami Heat win a very close competitive game, right? Like Jimmy's probably going to have all that usage at the end. Like if you remember last game, he didn't really have to do like the takeover stuff, right? Like it was Duncan Robinson. They got out in front. And then late in the game, he then started kind of doing it when it was necessary, right? Like that's like the Nuggets kind of started catching up and they had a big lead. And then, yeah, Jimmy kind of had to close the deal out. Like if you know it's going to be a game where they're playing from behind and it's like neck and neck, yeah, then Jimmy's going to probably have all that usage at the end and do the takeover stuff like he does. I think that's one of the keys with him. If you look at the game, look at all his game 7s or like the closeout wins, I guess you could say, right? How many shot attempts did he have? Against Boston, he had 28 shot attempts. That's the most shot attempts in the entire series. He played 43 minutes. He also played 43 minutes in game 1 and 41 in game 2. So again, yeah, that matters, but that was his most shot attempts. The closeout game. Look at the Knicks series, the game that they closed it out. 22 shot attempts. That was his most. Game against Milwaukee. This was overtime, so it skews it, but 33 versus next closest, which is 28. Again, close out. Like, it's when he's closing. We always watch it. We know if there's 5 minutes left. We know if Grant Williams is there talking trash, Jimmy's going to grab the ball and then go out there and just get his buckets, right? It's like when you get that final 5 minutes, like we talked about with De'Aaron Fox Spread, that's Jimmy's time to close the game out, and that usage is important. So if that's the script you want to build, that's a great way to do it. Like, play for that script. If you play Jimmy at the captain, that's the script that I would be playing for.
I'm so happy you managed to give De'Aaron Fox some props here during the NBA Finals. My day just keeps getting better. RunPureSports.com. Use that promo code Summer33. Become a member. Guys, throw these in the chat. I just don't want to mess up the flow of the conversation. But Tyler, this is a great question for you. Do you guys like Nuggets minus 1.5 first half? I personally do not. I think if you like the Nuggets, just take them the full game.
Yeah, if you like the Nuggets, I think you take them full game.
I kind of like Miami first half better.
I like Miami for the first half in the game, so I'm not the guy to ask here.
Yeah, I don't think either of us like it. And my thing is, if you love Denver, just play them the full game, in my mind. I think that first half is riskier.
The more I look at it, I think it's one of those games where Miami comes out, they're right back where they were in that fourth quarter. They're hitting everything. MPJ misses a couple shots. Malone gets frustrated, yanks him off the floor. Bruce Brown goes out there. They're playing more of like inside ball, and it's just a tough game from there on out. Miami guts it out in the end.
I hate that script, but there's a great possibility. You're right. Let me give you a couple props that I played, Tyler. I did take Gabe Vincent over 13.5 points. He's averaging 13.9 points per game during 31.6 minutes this postseason. He's shooting 42.9% from the field, 41% from three during the postseason. He's gone over tonight's point total in 5 of his last 6 games. He's averaging 21 points per game in the finals. More importantly, he's averaging 13 field goal attempts and 8 3-pointers, right, Tyler? On these props, we love the target usage. It seems like the usage is going to be there. I like Gabe Vincent's over tonight.
Yeah, don't mind the over 13.5, but me personally, I'd rather play the over 2.5 threes. You're getting it a plus.
I mean,
money.
8 threes per game?
Yeah, he's shooting 8 of them. We only need 3 of them. He's back at home. He's going to hit his shots. I'd rather play that at the plus money over 2.5.
All right. We talked about Jokic. You know, there's being content to let him score. That takes away from guys like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. If they're not going to double team Jokic, you won't see his beautiful passing ability. And KCP's not going to force stuff. He's only going to do those catch and shoot open shots. He's averaging 11.1 points per game during the postseason, but only averaging 6.5 points per game in the first 2 games of the NBA Finals. But more importantly, only 6 field goal attempts per game. Tyler, if I want to fade a Nuggets role player, I think KCP is the guy because I think they're going to let Jokic score a lot. That's going to hurt guys like KCP. What do you think?
Yep, 100% agree. Love the under there. I know our guy Mangone was talking about that under too on KCP. So
yeah, I think he went under on the field goals. I was also thinking of a Max Strus under, but my original idea there was Tyler Hero was going to be back in the lineup. He's not going to be there. What about Aaron Gordon over 12.5 points? I mean, in the last 3 games, he's shooting 67.7% from the field. It's just going to be a usage thing. He scored 12 in game 2, but he was 5 of 7 from the field. What do you think, Tyler? Does Aaron Gordon get right tonight?
Yeah, I mean, he could get there. It's a low number for him, but the way they're playing defense now with Kevin Love on the floor, he's not getting those easy buckets like he got in game 1. So I'm staying away from an Aaron Gordon.
Tyler, you don't think he bangs 2 threes again?
No, that's the other thing too. He hit the 2 threes. Like, I don't want to be sitting on an Aaron Gordon points prop and we're like, why won't you shoot this wide open shot?
Well, you know why he won't shoot the shot.
Yeah, because they're not going in.
Yeah.
All right, last one for me here. Jimmy Butler, over 6.5 assists. He's averaging 8 assists per game in the first 2 games. He's gone over the assist prop total in 3 of the last 4 games. And he had 9 assists in game 2. What do you think about Butler over on assists, Tyler?
I love that. I also want to touch on that when you guys were talking about the Murray defense and if it's hurting Butler's offense. I think Butler's still a bit banged up. We seen it in that game 7 in Boston. Tatum wasn't the only guy that rolled his ankle there. Butler tweaked his ankle. He did an interview, and guy asked him, he said, "Are you hurt?" He said, "It's the NBA Finals. Nobody cares." He didn't give a yes or no. I think there's something messed up with that ankle. I don't think he's 100%, so I like seeing him facilitate more here. That over on his assist, I love that. I don't mind playing the double-double either because I think he can get up into those double digits here. These guys are going to be hitting
What was the over on the assists?
6.5.
6.5.
Okay, 6.5.
JSU, did you look at the prop yet? Is there any that you bet?
Yeah, so I am in the process right now of making a single game parlay for the people here because I am a man of the people here. So I will give this out. I'm going to bet it right now. And they just give me my last leg to get us to over 100-1. So I like this.
Let's do it.
Denver -2.5. Sorry, Tyler, but you'll have to run with the team for this one. Jokic over 29.5 points. Bruce Brown 1-3. Bam Adebayo over 3.5 assists. Gabe Vincent 3+ threes. Michael Porter Jr. double, and Jimmy Butler over 6.5 assists. That's plus 111 or something like that. So you're getting nice odds here if you want to run with me. I'm betting that right now. Just bet it, and nice little 7-legger for the people.
Hey, there's probably a better chance of that hitting than a Bruce Brown captain lineup winning and not duping, right? So maybe that's the way to go there. Travis,
Jason, don't worry. I'm gonna post. two of them on the site for the people, and I'm sure Big T will have his up later on. So yeah, I'll have it up on my column a little bit later, and we'll post another one, and then I know Tony's gonna have his up there, I'm sure. So I posted that on DraftKings too. So that was on DraftKings. If you guys are asking for the site.
I thought he meant what site could we find that on? I said, Kevin, it's obvious. It's runpuresports.com.
He was definitely asking about where I bet it. Yeah, that's but yeah, Run Pure Bets, baby. Come on over.
Travis, did you play any other player props before we get to the best bets?
No, so the KCP under 1.5 3-pointers is one of them. I haven't done my single game parlay. I'll post it on the site and I'll post it on Twitter. I always forget to post it in the single game parlay sheet, but I try to post it in the Discord at least. So I'll definitely post that one when I have it done. Props are definitely tougher today. I will probably not be giving out 100-1 like JSU. I will just.
Mangone.
Yeah. I'll give a good one, but it's probably
You're such a downer on these things. I mean, get in there.
Mango, you're supposed to give out a 200-1 since he gave out the 100-1.
I can.
Big T's gonna give out like a 800,000-1, like he did that.
Just max out
time.
everyone's props. Just go click the 5+3s. The 4
He sent me this.
points.
He sent me this one. What was it last? Last game or whatever? It was like literally 250,000-1 or something like that. I was
He put a prop on every single player in the game.
No, it was literally like 6 legs too, and I was like, I didn't even know it could get this high. Like that's ridiculous.
I don't think bookmaker will even pay out that high.
I won't be giving one of those out, but I will probably make sure I will have Nuggets -3 in there. I'll have the under 214.5, and I'll have KCP's under on 3-pointers, and then
what's your guys' thoughts on a K Love over 5.5 rebounds?
Just make this into a parlay right now. You literally just gave like 3 bets. Now take a couple of mine that I gave. Come on, let's go. Be a team player here.
I'll do it right now. So,
and while he's doing that, Tyler had a good one. Kevin Love over 5.5 boards. Do you think he gets the minutes to get there, JSU?
I like that one, by the way.
I think he gets the
grabbed
minutes.
10 last game.
I think he gets the minutes to have a shot at getting that. I don't even think he plays 22, but I think he plays, 18, which is enough. 22 was high. I mean, he could play 22 again, but even if he gets 18, I think he could get over that number. I like him over 2 threes, over 1.5 threes. I think is plus money. He's going to shoot them because, that's why he's out there on offense, right? To kind of stretch it. And he's going to have to take some of those open shots when he's there. So I like that too.
And of course, we're talking about Kevin Love, who is teammates at UCLA of Travis's favorite player, Russell Westbrook. I figured we had to get that in there. We had to check all the NBA rundown boxes.
Yeah, we can check. We can check one more box spread. Have you heard the Jamal Murray story about Rudy Gobert and Jokic?
No, let me hear.
That was great.
I did not hear this.
So Jokic, Murray's talking about how Jokic is playing against Gobert. It's a couple of years ago. He's in the Jazz jersey, and
I remember this one now.
Jokic has the ball in the post, and they're hedging the double, right? Like you do on Jokic, like the Heat. They're kind of hedging the double. They're not going all the way, but they're doing enough to maybe force the pass or not force it while the clock's kicking down. And Gobert waves off the guy. He says, I got this. And Jokic just looks at him and goes, he's in the post. He looks at him, brother, I got 47. You got me.
Yeah, I remember that one now.
So yeah, if we put this parlay together, I like this one. We'll keep it simple. The problem is we did lose the 214.5, so we lost the point. We'll blame JSU for it. I don't know why. We'll just blame him. But
you're blaming me?
Yeah, I mean it's on FanDuel. You could maybe do this on DraftKings and get better odds.
It keeps dropping. It's dropped a full point, and I've been doing shows.
Grab the alt total, Travis.
Yeah.
It's the same game parlay. Pay the extra 10 cents. You'll be all right.
Where
Mango doesn't want to pay. Have you ever met Travis Mango before?
Dude, it just dropped another full point. During the course of the show, Bookmaker has dropped from 214.5 to 213.
So Tyler, here's the thing. I can't find it. FanDuel's confusing. I can't bet on DraftKings. Okay. So I'm going to be the lazy sports bettor here for once and just not grind it out and hope it doesn't burn me. And if it does, I'll tilt. But so unless you can tell me exactly where it is, Tyler, do you tell me exactly where the alt?
Give me one second. Let me pull up the same game parlay tab on my phone.
All right, while you do that, I got to mention this. I see my guy Glaucoma in the chat. I'm so happy to see him. But I also follow him on Twitter, and I just got to let you know, Glock, there's no way that LeBron's going to Dallas. That news is manufactured because there's so many people out there like Mikey that don't view basketball as a sport. They just care about LeBron, and that's the only type of stories they'll click on. But save those photoshops, Glock. It's not going to happen. Did you find it, Tyler?
It's not there, Travis. I know they let you do it in the regular season. They must have taken it away.
Travis wins again.
Yeah, I don't care that much. So here we go. I'm putting it in. It's plus 10.57, so 10.5 to 1, I guess you could call it. It's Nuggets -3. It's under 213.5. It's KCP under on 3-pointers at 1.5 and over on Kevin Love rebounds at 5.5. Actually, there's one more. Let's put one more in. I really like that one. Let me see if I find it. I really like the Jamal Murray over on assists. Do we like the 6.5 at -140, Tyler? Is it worth it?
I say no because I don't trust all the other role players around him. He better get those 7 assists from Jokic.
Yeah.
Okay. That gives me the 19 to 1. That's what I was thinking about. The 10 to 1 or 19.
Here's one. You think Michael
Porter
Jr. plays better tonight and he's going to be on the floor?
What?
You think Michael Porter Jr. plays better tonight and he's going to be on the floor a lot?
Yeah.
Just take the 1+ blocks at plus 115.
I see get you above.
If I lose because of a Michael Porter Jr. blocks, Tyler, I will be pretty mad. So we're not.
You can blame it all.
Let's do that because I want to see Travis tilt.
No.
Yeah, you can come back on Friday and just cuss me out for that one.
I'm placing the 10 to 1. If you want to add the Michael Porter Jr. blocks, go right ahead. Get it in there. That's on you.
Man, don't. Are you kidding me? Post that thing with the blocks.
Get
in there.
I'm not losing because
you know what? Just for that, we're betting Porter 2+ blocks at 6 to 1.
All right, I'm joining you on that one, Tyler.
Again,
all right, I appreciate having you guys on the show today, but we're not done yet. Reminder, the show is brought to you by RunPureSports.com, the best in daily fantasy and sports gambling information. Hey, that daily fantasy info, it can take a little while to get your process going, right? Tyler, you got to learn how to use the core plays, Saber Sam, the player pools, right? But go to the RunPure bet site. It's so easy. You pull up the NBA playbook. You see if there's an RPB tag next to it, and you bet it. You'll be up over 40 units on the air. Same thing. You go to the daily picks page. You say, oh, this is what JJ played in baseball. This is what Joey played in baseball. It's simple. It's easy, and it's been proven to be profitable. RunPureSports.com, promo code SUMMER33. Tyler, your best bet for the day. Side, total, prop.
My side's going to be, I'm going to take the Heat. I do think they win this game. I'm going to be the only guy on this show. I think that does take the Heat. And as a prop, give me that Kevin Love over 5.5 rebounds. I think that's set a little bit too low. He's going to play. I think he grabs 7 to 8 rebounds again here. So give me that over 5.5 at -110.
All right. I liked half of that breakdown. Travis, your best bet for the day, side, total, or prop?
Yeah. So I'm going to go with, you're getting 3 bets spread. You're getting Nuggets -3. You're getting under 213.5 points. You're getting KCP under 1.5 threes. 3 bets, you get a side, you get a total, you get a prop. You got the SGP too. Just add Kevin Love over on rebounds with it. I don't know what else more I can give you, spread.
Oh, you great job today. And JSU, I hadn't seen you for, obviously I see you when I'm watching your other shows, but I hadn't done a show with you for a while. So happy you were able to join on. I guess all it takes was a little bit of Mikey ignorance, and now we're reunited again.
Now you know what to get. Now you know what to do. Just send.
It's just like when we want Big T on the show. We want Big T on it. We just have Tyler start calling Jokic a Teletubby, and then we get a Big T appearance within 20 minutes.
Start calling him garbage, baby.
Yeah.
We'll get him on.
I called him Russell Westbrook last time. That got him on.
Yeah. All right, JSU, what's your best bet for the day?
Well, I'm obviously taking Denver -2.5. I gave out a ton of props on the show. I don't know. I kind of like the Bam Adebayo assist prop at over 3.5. I also think Tyler was talking about the MPJ blocks on DraftKings. 2 blocks is plus 550.
6 to 1 on FanDuel.
Parlays. What is it on FanDuel?
6 to 1 on FanDuel. to get
So
an
it's a
extra
little
50
higher on
cents.
FanDuel.
Yeah.
Then maybe I'll play better on FanDuel. I don't know yet, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna bet some Michael Porter Jr. props. It just he has to have a bounce back game. I can't not see it. They want him out there. He needs to have a better game. I think he has a better game, but yeah, I mean the Bam assist prop I definitely like too. To me, clearly in game 2, someone talked to him because he was still taking the shots they were giving him, but he wasn't just jacking them up like in game 1. It was way more efficient. They were way more calculated. Took 14 to 25 shots. He could have took 20 plus shots again, I think, in my opinion. He just, I think, was more, kind of calculated about when and where to kind of set his teammates up. So I like that one as well. And come over to Run Pure Sports and get more of the single game parlays and the best bets from you guys and the DFS stuff.
All right, there you have it. RunPureSports.com, NBA Rundown. We will be back on Friday, and then no games this weekend, right, Tyler? So we get to break down Monday's game as well. Of course, Game 5 in Denver. Monday we'll have a show for that one as well. So, not done with me and Tyler yet. But before we get out of here, JSU, since, I haven't seen you for a while, you give the words of wisdom to the people and maybe let them know, when they use that promo code SUMMER33, all the great stuff they're going to be getting this summer.
Yes, get the promo code, get in there, 33% off. We get all of the core plays, all of the playbooks for every single sport that we have for the summer. You're going to get NBA Showdown till it's done. Rubio does friggin' WNBA projections. We've got F1, we've got NASCAR, MMA, PGA, literally you name it, we got it over at Run Pure Sports. One price for every single sport on the board. MLB, of course, going all throughout the summer. You guys will get everything from the BigT player pools, where he lines up all of the guys he has in his pool, and then he gives you 4 different cores based off of his 4 different teams. You got the Mangone 3-max strategy, where Mangone breaks down his strategic ways of attacking the slates for 3-max builds. And then K Falick, myself, all the other great coordinators, Stevie Boynton, DC, giving out their baseball winners in the Discord, on the shows. And stay tuned. I think there's a baseball show at 5:30 p.m. today. So we'll be giving the baseball winners in a little bit. And then premium show for the subs for NBA Showdown. Me, Big T, running through the slate.
Can't wait.